23rd. I start like, you know, I feel like I'm one of the very few that does this live, and I do it for a reason because this stuff just keeps coming and it rains down and it's so timely. You know, I kind of came up, you know, through mining, and I used to watch, you know, Vosk and like, you know, all these great YouTubers, but they would be like weeks behind in their edit, and so I did this live to try and talk about, you know, what's going on in the industry because it's moving so fast. I mean. On Friday, I talked about Onis and Degenz, and if you would have gotten any of those, you'd be sitting quite pretty. Degenz is at least 5x, and Onis, I mean, we'll check it out. On average, you're 10x on Onis over the weekend, and so really an incredible time in this space. And I try to take the point of view from the creator's point of view, because I think those are the guys that are really banging. You think you're doing well. Going from, you know, a 0.5 floor in the reveal stage to a 2.5. It was like 2.5 like a day ago. Now I think it's the average. I think it's 3.5. We'll check it out. But let's get into it. We got Sad Frog's lawsuit. Cryptopunk's one got bought by Visa, and they had some crazy language. I wanted to just kind of briefly go over it. It was astonishing how clear they were going to use blockchain to bypass any sort of, they're going to profile you basically, you know, with your the NFTs you purchase. This is not a station or a channel about you know, conspiracy theories or anything like that, but please leave them down in the comments because those are fun to address and play with. BitCountry's having a huge drop. We were just talking about them, and just so happens they're having a drop, and so I was going to take you guys through a drop and how to do that. Those are fun because you know, you kind of just click and share, and they're trying to get the word out about things, and so when you do that, they compensate you, and if their token does well, in the past, no financial advice, but if you do that, you get paid quite a bit. And then I want to talk about Animonkeys. It's sort of this. It's an animal. It's a sub. It's like the sub drop. It's a drop by. Well, it's not really a drop. It's weird. I think a lot more creators are going this route where, you know, they want to try and find ways to create value and utility, and instead of just doing straight drops, you can also just create another add-on, and you purchase that add-on to go with your add-on, and we'll walk through how Animonkeys turns into Animonsters, and it's an amazing tokenization because it's limited. So no financial advice, but this is something that it would be painful to get into because the price has kind of gone 5x, you know, in the past like 2 weeks or so, but it's never going to go back down, I don't think. I mean, it could if, you know, the sort of the space exploded and Animetas was somehow a big, massive, very cute rug pull, then yeah, it's all gone. But if you're counting on value and utility, it's a quite interesting play. So we'll talk about Animonkeys later. But I want to step into, I'm sure just what's big on a lot of people's plates today, the holy crap of what is going on with my hair. Sorry guys, I'm just like, this is why this is called the overtime. Do this after the overtime. I'm wearing the psychic shirt today in lieu of or in representing just how crazy this weekend was, because I was like, look, this is quite an interesting project, and I just like the art, and I didn't get in on it, but man, look at this. These are the recent sales: 29, 6 ETH, 4 ETH, 4.8 ETH, 10.69 ETH. These are the sales, and you know, you can buy off the floor right now, because I think it's funny because it says like here the floor is at 3.3. It's moving so fast that the floor is actually about 4.5. That's the floor. That's the minimum amount it takes now to get an Oni, Oni Force, Oni for short. But man, what a takeoff! I didn't get in, and so they immediately excluded me from the Discord. So I wasn't able to kind of track, you know, all this massive heat. But like I said, they got 16,000 before, about 15,000 before launch in terms of like followers, and just in the Discord. And I think again the art is, it's cool. And then like here I'll break down sort of, this looks like just straight up cool, even from the floor. I'm like, cool. But the yeah, man, the rare ones are kind of popping. So you know, it's this guy recently sold actual, like straight up, this got sold 10 ETH for that. Come on. 11.99, 15, 10, 20. That one's pretty beautiful. Yeah, so some of them when they hit, and that's the thing, you know, I talk about this with nouns / nounders. Like this one here, that all black with the hat, that's dope. For 30, there's an aesthetic there that when it comes together, that's hot. When the aesthetic hits in like the different layers, you know, you can have like, I mean, you have the skull mask dude, and I'm sure he's a rarity with the green headphones on the green face, on the green background. I'm sure that's a rarity, and it's kind of cool. But when you have her with the card and the hat, her just having black on black on black on black, that's just dope. and you know, the person who either was at Mint, you know, and got this, or bought it at, you know, the pre-reveal stage for 0.5, that's massive. That is 60x if they sell. I mean, somebody actually sold it for 14.48. So whoever sold it at 14, I mean, there's you know, been some sales because this is how hot this collection has been over the weekend. But that's a house, guys. That's $90,000. I mean, that's a down payment on a house. Sorry, excuse me. You know, these days, my gosh, maybe this is why we're all buying NFTs, because we can't afford houses. Sad freaking fact. And so yeah, the collection's just hot. It's popping. I particularly don't see a super awesome roadmap. I just dig the art. I was a bit scared though in purchasing it, because of, at the same time, I was kind of getting hit with a lot of what's going on, and I'll show you guys, with the Sad Frogs lawsuit. And so the Sad Frogs, you know, was just really just a bad launch, and people were really freaked out, and it seemed like a massive rug pull, and you know, but they had the frogs, and like, you know, there were some people in that community who had bought in, who were like, no, this is going to be great, and they kept pushing it, and to their credit, they do still have one. But you know, this is the thing, is like, they are derivative, and so by being derivative of you know, another thing, which is, you know, the Pepe frog, it's liable for, you know, a suit. It's vulnerable to a suit. And so for me, I mean, no FUD. Onis kind of look like Gorillaz. And so if I'm that artist and I'm seeing these creators make this much money, I mean, it's kind of as if I was doing, like, you know, some sort of Star Wars ripoff, like Lucas would, you know, himself, like come to my door and you know, Vader death grip me and choke the crap out of me, because that's their property. And you know, they especially this artist Fury, you know, who designed Pepe, has been fighting back against, you know, its manipulation of the property within, you know, with ways that, like, he didn't agree with, that were, you know, really against his beliefs. And so in super controversial communities, we'll say, they were using it, you know, in a kind of a crappy way. And so, you know, he wanted to defend his own property, his property rights, and his creation. And so, so he, you know, he has lawyers basically at his disposal. And so they were like, well, this thing, Sad Frogs, is, again, not even a great launch. It was a quasi hot property. It netted $4 million in trading volume. So you got to take, you know, a few million for the mint, and then, like, you know, secondary market, they're getting a good fat piece of that, at least 5%. And, you know, a median price of $450 per Sad Frog. that's a lot of money, and at a certain point that's going to cause attention. I think if you created something, even if you did the NFT and somebody was doing a rip-off NFT of yours, I think this is the issue is at what point do you say, hey, I'm the one who came up with slaughterhouse unicorns for Halloween and they look super dope, and then somebody's coming up with horror house corns or something. It's just like something that's clearly derivative, and the art looks the same. It's a bit indistinguishable, and one could make that. I think that's sort of the legal boundaries. One could make, if I'm just like a regular customer, one could make a mistake within the marketplace, like of thinking like, oh hey, this is this artist, and making that purchase. And so again, no FUD. I'm just talking about like as a creator. As creators, what we should be looking out for when creating our own properties within the space. It's bound to get litigious, and especially when you have great success. And so here, yeah, I think Vice does a really great job of stepping through kind of what happened. They have great investigative reporters there, and so it's a Discord. It said, "Hey guys, can I get on?" And they kind of banned them, and I think they were very scared, and rightfully so. They didn't want to. They felt very intimidated by the fact that the artist was like, hey, like you guys shouldn't be using my thing, and please stop or please adjust it, take it offline, adjust the frogs, do something. And they were just so scared that they were kind of, honestly, as creators, a bit immature about it. I think if you're a creator, I think gosh, who was that? Sam Smith, who kind of ripped off Tom Petty, and it's just like, oh dude, yeah, like holy crap, I wasn't really even thinking about that because I was so in my own process. And that's okay, that happens. You get inspired by so many things. There's so many great artists. It's hard not to get inspired by them, and to have that kernel of an idea for something be present when you're expressing yourself as an artist. You got to take it on the chin and say, okay, cool, like what can we do? But they were scared and they were trying to hide. They were trying to play the hide game, and that's kind of an immature artist reaction, to be honest. And it's not successful because they're going to come after you, especially when you have somebody who has lawyers like Fury, and so they began to to seek ways to to shut it down. And so I think the creators of Sad Frogs began to sort of call it unfair and a bit name call, and they just shut it down on OpenSea. And so by attacking the marketplace, of letting the marketplace sort of play referee, it was a very interesting thing that as an example for our community of how that can be policed in a way. And so when you're taking off the biggest marketplace, your price isn't going to do so well. How are people going to find you? It's going to be very word of mouth, and hey, maybe it becomes this underground sort of cool thing. But it's just an example. I think that we need to be keeping an eye out for in this community, because they issued a Digital Millennium Copyright Act takedown request, and OpenSea responded, much like YouTube would if you guys said like, oh my gosh, this dude is like, totally ripping off, I don't know, pick a person with glasses and crazy hair, and and they were like, oh yeah, that is, and they're ripping that off. They have the right and they have the duty to take them down. And so in this decentralized sort of Wild West, herein lies an example where it's not so free, it's not so open. If you attack it where it makes sense economically to it, here at the financial level, the marketplace itself. Without the marketplace, you're a bit dead in the water. And so it's sad that some people lost a lot of money because they were looking for the pump here, and that's just another warning, because what if the creator of the Gorillaz was like, yeah, this looks like a lot like my stuff, and this team tried to play, hide and seek and hard to get and not want to face the music, and then the lawyers came in and shut that down. That's a lot of heartache for a lot of people, and it sucks to do that. And I think especially when you're looking at a market like this where Onis were exploding and Sad Frogs, to some degree, we're having a very solid run. It's just they were getting press, good press and bad press, but still, like, there was interest in the project, and then you get people who invest a lot in that without understanding some of these pitfalls as this marketplace is burgeoning, and we begin to understand what's going on with it. And so, on the flip side, corporately, Visa bought a Cryptopunk, and they paid quite a bit. They bought one off the floor for $150,000, and it's near the floor, and so it was very cool. It's like that was a real commitment and a real statement saying, hey guys, we are going to be investing in this space, and this is the future. But then in the article, it started freaking me out. It's like, this becomes as important as your mailing address. What city are you in? What zip code do you reside in? It begins to paint a picture about a consumer, and in this weird way, without revealing their identity, but you are your wallet. Like, we found Logan Paul's wallet. It was kind of by accident, but we were able to look at what he has in there, and I think even if you didn't know it was Logan and he wasn't so overtly obvious, having the Pokemon body in his face with a Band-Aid on it, and it was just a number, like mine is, like many of yours are. They can still key in on you as a consumer. They can look at it and say, well, okay, this person owns these. Well, that's very telling of how much money they have. At their disposal, like, painting the picture. And so that was curious, it was just kind of like this, oh, cool moment of for NFTs, but then like oh, hey, yeah, this is blockchain, and everything we do is, in the public record, is sort of in the public eye, and we have to be comfortable with that, because that's the new future, the new norm, as it were. I want to chat really quick about Degenz. Degenz have been doing a burn. Let me go into their floor. This is another one of those projects that, it's just like it's a nice entry, and I tried to share it as a very low entry point. As you see, it went down to 0.01, 0.2. Again, this is 0.1, but this is like it 10x from a 0.01. So off the floor, it was like 0.01, just because of the FUD, because of people complaining about it not doing as well, and the openness of their Discord, letting people just kind of talk whatever they wanted to say, honestly, even if they owned them or not. I think that was a one limitation that I found with Onis and another one. It was just like, oh, if you haven't taken part in the drop, or you don't have one yet at reveal, they automatically boot you out of that Discord. And so I thought that was interesting, because I know Vogu had kept their Discord open for general for a week or two, and I don't know if they felt like they were exposing themselves, but it led, I thought, to people wanting to participate, like getting excited about the community and then wanting to participate. And so people were like, oh, I'm thinking about this and which one, and so some quasi OGs from the project would be like, oh, hey, well, this is important about the project, and maybe check this out. And so it helped onboard a lot of people. But I think it also, when you eliminate people who aren't invested in the community, you're probably going to get to your own spin. And I think that's something that Onis has done extremely well. I need to look more into how they develop their community. Hats off to their devs. Or their moderators, honestly, because moderators, I feel like they're the new DJs. You get a good moderator, and they can really make the room feel like it's got a good positive energy and a good vibe, and control the conversation and mute people who aren't on board. So as much as we talk about decentralization, we're talking about different ways of control here, sadly, that just kind of come up through the process of the success or the not success. And so for Degenz, so not so great success. They fell immediately from like 0.1 mint They were up a little and then just immediately fell down and never recovered this entire time until like yesterday. They finally came back up from their original mint floor, sort of quote unquote in the black, and due to the fact that they were thinking about like how do we add more value. They did some burns. They limited the number available, and then here they're doing a 2-for-1. You bring 2 Degenz and you can burn one and get one of these guys. I don't love the floor. I was just kind of scrolling through the floor here. It's all sort of I guess the common is the skull, and but I must say, like, some of the more awesome rare ones, like the pinhead's pretty cool. Some of the more rarer ones, as I sort of was gazing around, were kind of cool. They had an element to them of cyberpunk dystopia. Again, the elements that are currently on trend for NFTs. They just sort of, I don't know if they felt pressure. Clearly, they felt pressure to augment the art. But I think they did it in a fun way, and I think at the heart of Degenz and now RE-GENZ is a great artist. He's doing comic book strips for everybody, and they dropped one on us, and it's a small added value, but I think they're constantly thinking of the value, and that's super cool. I tried to do one, but I can kind of walk you through here. So you bring 2. So these are my 3, and then so I was like, okay, I picked the 2. I guess it's gonna be Moon Boy, and I kind of liked them because they're just so weird. Moon Boy freaks me out. And then like the remote control girl, I like the remote control girl or the joystick girl, but like I just didn't like the down arrow. I don't know, it just seemed like depressing. I don't know. These things are here to make me happy. But then gas prices, I noticed. I must have been doing it about 5 o'clock or so, and so I'm like, okay, somebody is doing a drop, because I could see gas just going from like 60 to 70 to 75. And so I ended up not pursuing it. So let's get into some of the funner stuff. BitCountry drop, how to participate. BitCountry, hit their Discord and or their Twitter, just their website here, and you can get a sense of these steps. So right now in testnet, they have Noom. I assume somehow they're playing with how they're going to tokenize their world, and so right now it's Noom is their testnet token, and so we've been able to do like small contests to get things to wear for our avatars that are quote unquote Genesis wear. So for those that have been super early on, you get a piece of this. If you have the patience, honestly, for these little blind box things, man, they were a bit annoying, to be honest, and kind of took time, but I ended up getting at least one piece of Genesis wear. And so, but if you want to get the coins, follow Twitter, Discord, so it gives you a list of things to do. They're not that hard. They take 5 seconds. They really just want to try and get the word out about who they are, and at least get it on Twitter and trending, and get your friends to be like, oh, what is that BitCountry, and maybe have a look themselves, and then maybe get excited that you potentially couple weeks, I think probably a couple weeks out from the drop, but in a couple weeks you'll be like, I just got dropped 70 Noom, and nobody knows exactly what that is or how much it's worth. It could be, less than $1. It could be $10. Probably not $10 per Noom if you got 70, but it's going to be a significant sum in general, and it's just a matter of how well the project does. I think those who are in like the Uniswap drop were just like, are you kidding me? Like you got a drop, but then that price immediately mooned, and you were like, that was a lot of money you just gave me, and it's just kind of a nice element in crypto. So I wanted to share that about a project I'm super excited about, and hope you guys are too. And then animators have these things called Animonkeys, and these Animonkeys are companions, and so the price has gone up considerably. There's 2.5k of them, 2.5 thousand of them, and so at a big boom, I was just like, oh, okay, it's like, everyone got super excited about it. And I was like, I'm gonna wait. And then so I was just like, okay, cool, it's going down. And I was thinking about getting in on it, and then like kind of like bumped up again for some reason. I think because they realized nobody knew what this was, and they made a Twitter announcement, and they're just like, okay, it was just like, I think all the people that knew hit it. You can see the sales volume is very, very low, and they're just like, gosh, nobody knows about this. And so they did a sort of a guide, if you will. And so there's different classes: lightning, fire, water, air, and earth. Right now you can buy earth. Earth obviously is the floor, because obviously the rarities play into this. And so just like many other rarity classifications and categories, you obviously want to try and get fire or lightning if you got the money. And so and when you do, you're able to burn that and get I think even multiple ones, which freaks me out, because I'm like, who the hell has money to burn like 5 lightning? But if you burn like a fire and a water or something, depending on the burn, you will get a new companion. So your Animonkey will turn into something else. The interesting thing is they are limiting. This isn't like they're not going to do this unending. There's only going to be 2,500 Animonkeys. As Animetas gets popular, of their the brood of 10,000 or so, 10,000, I think it's 10,101, they're gonna want a companion at some point, and so right now you can get not today but like soon an Animonster. And so, but after you burn for your Animonster, that monkey goes away, so it becomes 2,500 minus 1. So there's only 2,499 in existence after that. And so every burn eliminates an Animonkey. That makes an Animonkey very valuable. It's something that I was thinking about with Degenz. It's just like, well, if we're burning all these Degenz, you're creating incredible value, A, just on the buying price, but B, there's a limitation now on how many Degenz are. There's probably going to be, at the end of this thing, maybe 5,000 or so left. And so if they kept doing that, that'd be quite interesting. But in this, Animetas has made it clear that there's just going to be these. And again, there's only 21 lightning. So just the fact that anyone would burn 1 lightning, meaning I had 20 and then 20 would be left ever, is insane. And so the collectability for these becomes very interesting, because then you can kind of like kick back, maybe buy an earth, and then like see how it's doing, and then if you had a fire or a lightning, in a sense you're minting a new character from this. And so I think everyone knows, if you've been following the channel, how excited I am about Animetas, and how I think it's just got everyone says, oh, a great community, but they've really managed to grow themselves into a lot of things that make it a successful project. So you can burn up to 3 Animonkeys of any combination and get a unique monster. So here you go, rare monster, rare element, more monkeys burned. So if you had 3 lightnings, like you would create some sort of deity or something. And so having again, Zed-Run, I think a lot of these play into elements and rarities and combination, quasi breeding, and in this stage burning. But it's interesting, as the burn happens, then you don't have the initial supply, and so you will have just a constant value that's seemingly always going to rise for an Animonkey, because people are going to burn to get an Animonster. That's going to leave a certain amount left, and they're going to make perhaps some money, because again, not many people are going to do that. And so maybe there's only going to be like 10 monsters, because somebody's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be waiting for the Ana bicycle, or and so they're going to be waiting in the game. And so it creates a very interesting sub game, gamifying blockchain, which again bodes well, because I know that there's a lot of criticism right now about gaming and how this incorporates and how hard it is to bootstrap a game, and it's crazy, the idea, and we talk about it here on the show. So like and subscribe, because if not, you're never going to hear about these things. You're going to hear about these when BitBoy Crypto is talking about how he sold one for an absurd sum, and then other people are going to ape into it and triple that price. So like and subscribe now, because honestly, this information is for now, and I'd love for you guys to have this information now, because it informs your decisions on as a creator and as an investor in getting into these pieces. And so as a collector, I don't want to say investor so much, but as a collector. So Animonkeys, holy cow. So it breaks down 3 lightning monkeys with low serial numbers. So you're just really gamifying this whole process. And so I'm just like, well done. Like, this just shows me they're thinking about the community and the type of person that gets into these things. We love stats. We love graphs. We love, bringing, calculating out all of the, the opportunities that potentially you might have. And it's rewarding when we get it, and so that's it's part of the game. And so they're going to start releasing more information about that. And I think that as that happens, as they realized, oh gosh, like our own core audience, is still struggling to understand what it is. It's based off of this Murat pack with the cubes collection as the idea. So they're looking at the space. They're clearly experienced in the space, and are like, let's take advantage of what we know and what we see in this space, and what I encourage you guys to be doing as collectors and as creators. As a collector, looking at sort of how these games are being generated, and as a creator, keeping that in your mind, like, how can my idea work for this? How can my idea take advantage of a system like this, like Animonkeys, which I think is very cleverly done, to put this as a companion. Like, you could get elite companions with your character to ostensibly play in the games. And again, we talk about games, and I just don't think a lot of people are going to be bootstrapping games. We checked out EVA Verse, and it was a very bad game of tag, and you're like, okay, what can my thing do? And I think that at one point somebody's gonna get clever and make the partnership with a great gaming company, and are going to be able to bring their platform to an actual game, a functioning game, a game that has bones, that's been built, and maybe a bit battle tested in betas, and so just kind of putting the mask of their their Animetas or their Vogu, or, onto their brand, in a sense, onto these things, and that's going to be happening, obviously in the metaverse first, as they bring their brands into areas to congregate and have sort of a social side of their process, of their program. Gosh, okay, that was it. I know it was a lot today. I wanted to get through a lot today. Thanks for getting through it all with me. It was a big weekend. But just wanted to, again, please like and subscribe. Please hit the bell notification, because the ones who are getting this 6 weeks from now, I'm sorry. 6 months from now, I'm sorry, because you're going to be pretty pissed that you weren't able to get this information at the time, especially if you're interested in NFTs and collecting and potentially creating as well, because that's the point of view that I take in terms of looking at the long-term view of utility, growth, and community, and because I think that's the future, guys, is social media in the metaverse. Wearing sweet Genesis, wearables, and showing off the NFTs we have, on the walls that we've built within the metaverse, and potentially going in and playing games. We're sure gonna be gambling a lot, aren't we? Gambling and advertising. I'm seeing a lot of that in the future. But yeah, thank you guys for listening and standing by. And yeah, like, subscribe, drop something in the comments, and let me know what you're thinking about, what you're seeing. Next couple of days, I'm going to go over some projects that I think are they're a bit out in the future. They haven't dropped yet, and we'll play them through, because like that was the thing, is like with Onis, I was like, this is kind of cool, and I was like, should I cover those? And I was just like, by the time I I did it, I was like, holy crap, it's here. And then it dropped, and then like I'm like, oh hey guys, you still have a window here. And then so if you would have minted at what, 0.7, because I think they're about the 7s as well. There's a lot of the 7s, and I think that tipping the cards here, I'm going to be talking about the 7s, which I think is probably the next big project. Art-wise, again, I look at some of the communities and I'm like, okay, but like art-wise, I think they're cool. That was the same guiding principle here for Onis. It was just like, that looks cool. That's interesting to me. The name was a bit difficult to track because it was like a 0N1, and that's Oni. And so it was a little challenging, just through, you couldn't find much about it. And the creators were being, and I think there still are, secretive about their actual identities. I don't know if they're doing as much press, or maybe they will be. I think that's what Vogu ended up doing as well. They were just like, oh crap, we have a hit, we should be out there in the world, quote unquote, selling this. But at this point, man, Onis don't need anyone to help sell them right now, because they are through the effing roof, man. Yeah, like I said, it can't even keep up with the floor price, and the ones that you would want are probably around 5 ETH. Just so again, there's different ways of collecting, and there's some who just want to buy off the floor and participate, and that's totally cool. I get excited about sort of what looks interesting and the rarities, and why is that? Oh, these masks. Those are rarity, okay, but like, how do they play into the overall aesthetic? Like the mouse one, it could work in that pink, but I'm looking for how these traits end up playing within the aesthetic, and if they do indeed have an aesthetic value, for me. But clearly they did, and they do for a lot of people, a lot of you, and I hope you guys got in on that, because if you got one of the rarities, because that's the weird thing, you could have dropped. Even there's so many opportunities based on sort of the markets. Is if you got you weren't able to get in on the mint, like a lot of us were not. You can go into the secondary market, and for these guys, they kept that reveal window quite long. It was 2, maybe 3 days, 36 hours, and something like this. So there was a lot of time to get in on this market and just buy one at the floor. And I didn't myself, but holy cow, let's see how this plays out. I think it's going to pump really, really hard. How much higher, I don't know, because I just don't understand, I think, the metrics behind, not the metrics, but the roadmap. And the articulation of that roadmap, to me, is the most interesting part for looking at long-term value and utility. Like, what does this do? Is this I think they're going to do comics based on these. I think they were supposed to go right into, as soon as they got minted, take that money and run with the making comics. And but again, I dig the art and the representation art. There's a lot of unique characterizations here that just aren't in other collections, of fluidity and gender, and I think have a little bit of an attitude. There's some of them that do side eye, and here's one that was for sale for 43 ETH, and you see sort of the Onis, the ON1s are the most rare. They represent 5% of the sort of the breakdown of humans, and then there's something like the trolls or something, and then the Onis are the most rare, and I think there's A lot of rarity is associated with this one, clearly. So this one, I mean, 0.0. Every time you see 0.0, these are usually ones that I like because I like to anchor my collection in like the 0.0 point, you know, whatevers, because that gives me one clear rarity to kind of hang my hat on, and then I look for aesthetic. Here, this has 5, and then they also bring in sort of, you know, the gamifying level of spirit strength. You know, these aspects that are intangibles within just, you know, random associated values that you don't see, that are interesting, because then you can take those and leverage those in gaming. And again, an exciting part of this. And so, average price here, guys. Yeah, we could have gone in on average price way earlier. Thanks for joining, and we'll